Welcome to episode 31 of the Goldenberg Destiny Project. So in the previous episode we spoke about Malchus Beis David. We spoke about the five first kings of Beis David: David, Shlomo, Rechavam, Aviam, and Asa. The Medrash says that these five kings, the saplings or flowers have appeared in the field, and therefore it's a time to sing. They were good. They were different. David and Shlomo were very high level. Rechavam and Aviam maybe not. But Asa was already like a throwback. He was a very, very good king. We spoke about the private bamas, that people had bamas. It was very important for them to have it, and they proliferated throughout Yehudah, throughout Israel, throughout Yehudah, both of them. And it was very hard to eradicate them, but Asa was able to eradicate them. It was only temporary, of course, because by the time he turned around, they were popping back up again. It was not possible for him to just totally eradicate them, but at least he made the biggest attempt, and he had the most success until that point. What was going on in the northern kingdom, in Israel at that time, was Yehudah. We spoke about Yehudah, who was a great Talmid Chacham, but then he was afraid that his kingdom would dissolve because everybody would go to Yerushalayim for Aliyah L'Regel, to go for Karbanis, and Rechavam, who was the Melech of David, would be sitting there. Yehudah would be standing, and Rechavam would be sitting, and people would say, "What kind of a king are you? You stand." And then maybe they would just decide to chuck this whole northern kingdom and reunite, and there would not be two separate kingdoms as the Navi had told them they would be. So he did some terrible things to accomplish, to preserve the separation. He put up an egel in Beisel and in Dan, and then there were a lot of bombers, and he made Nukei Hanem, and he was terrible. He corrupted Klal Yisrael. His son Nadav was the same thing. In Yehudah, the succession in the good times and even in the bad times was pretty stable. It was patrilineal. The son of the king, and the son of the king, and the son of the king, and the son of the king. Some good, some bad. I mean, at this point, we haven't come up with the bad ones yet. We will meet them. But there was a stability in Yehudah. In the kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom, there was not stability. It was rocky, and it was more like Rome. So Yehudah was the king, and his son Nadav, and then there was a king called Baasha. What did Baasha do? He assassinated Nadav, and he became the king. Now, Baasha was king for a while. I remember how many years, and then he died, and then his son Elah became king. And then Elah was assassinated by Zimri. Now Zimri was king for 7 days, but then after Zimri there was a civil war in Yisrael between Tibni and Omri. These two. Omri was a general. He wanted to be king, and Tibni also wanted to be king, and there was a civil war. Now, up until this point, there were also civil wars between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom was constantly trying to conquer the southern kingdom. Yehudah, the Malchi Yehudah, did not get involved in the politics of Yisrael. They did not get involved. But Asa decided to get involved. He decided to try to make some kind of an alliance with Yisrael, and that would protect him from these constant assaults and attacks from the northern kingdom. So there was this conflict between Omri and Tibni, and he decided to throw his support to Omri, and then Omri would be able to become king, and he would be an ally to Asa, and Asa would have peace, and he would not be attacked by the northern kingdom. In the nice ancient tradition, they sealed this alliance with a shidduch, with a marriage. So Asa's son Yehoshaphat married Omri's daughter. These two got married. So Yehoshaphat was the next king after Asa, but he was already not from the 5 kings who were good. But he was pretty good. Yehoshaphat was pretty good. But his shver was a terrible person, and he was probably worse than the ones that came before him. And that was his wife's father. When Omri died, Achav became king, his son Achav. Achav was Yehoshaphat's brother-in-law. Achav was not much of a Jew. He went and he married a woman from Lebanon, from Phoenicia, Ezevel. Ezevel came from a Baal worshipping family. She was a Phoenician princess, and she was a Baal worshipper. And did she convert to Judaism? Some of the Mefarshim say that she didn't, that Achav did not insist on her converting to Judaism. So this was Yehoshaphat's shvager, his brother-in-law Achav, and Achav had a Baal worshipping wife, and she was in favor of tolerance. So just because you're Jewish doesn't mean, she was the first one that really brought in real Avodah Zarah in a big way, but to establish a pagan cult in Yisrael, which was not before. There was some backsliding in the time of the Shoftim at different times, but she brought in and said, no, you can be Jewish, and you could also have the Baal here, and the Baal would be an established cult. And Achav accepted that, and he actually used to go worship the Baal, and he used to bring karbanos to the Baal. And Eliyahu, who was the Navi at that time, so he was fighting all the time with the Nevi Baal, the Kahane Baal, and and Achav was not impressed. He didn't really care about it. But then Eliyahu told him that your family is going to be destroyed, and that really hit him. Then there was a war with Syria, and Yehoshaphat joined his brother-in-law Achav on the battlefield, and Achav was killed. And Yehoshaphat remained alive, and he went out. Yehoshaphat had a son. The son's name was Yehoram. And Yehoram was already, I think, he was the first of the Malchei Yehudah that was not good. And when he went and he killed all his other heirs to the throne, he should be the only one, he should not be disputed, he'll have the throne. And he married the daughter of Achav and Ezevel. Her name was Asalia. And this was really the beginning of the downfall of the Malchei Yehudah. During this time, the status of Yisrael, Yehudah and Yisrael, because of all of this turbulence and all this corruption, it fell. Before that, they were the dominant regional power in the imperial quadrant. There were others maybe, but they were the dominant one. And as time went on, and as the status of the dynasties fell, and along with that the status of the people fell, and the unity fell, then their power also diminished, and they were attacked in the north by Syria, in the south by Egypt. Their relations with Phoenicia deteriorated, and in the far north there was the rise of the Assyrian Empire, Ashur. Ashur would play a very big role in the history of Klal Yisrael. That was wasn't during this time. It was not yet what it would be, but it was beginning to rise. And Elisha told Yehu that he should go and destroy the family of Achav, and he should become king. So in the next episode, we will tell the story of Yehu and the house of Achav. I'd like to invite you to visit me at RabbiReinman.com and explore all my works, both completed and still in progress, and kindly take the opportunity to lend your support on the participant page. Thank you very much, and be well.